or their battery lasts longer.
One of the mysteries of the sea.
Just moments away from Game 2 of the London Games from Wembley Arena in London, England. The Atlanta Hawks taking on the Orlando Magic. The fans still filing in. It's a sellout crowd of over 9,500. The game sold out in just a couple of days. Of course, both teams have first-year head coaches. Brian Hill for Orlando, Lenny Wilkens for the Atlanta Hawks. Now, for Brian Hill, the expectations, as we told you, are very high. Some people are talking 50 wins for this ball club, but Brian Hill says the goals for Orlando are very simple. On the other hand, Lenny Wilkens says the goals for the Atlanta Hawks are obvious.
Our goal this year is to be a playoff team. You know, talk about contending for a title or, you know, competing with New York for a division title. That's all well and good, but you have to walk before you can run, and we have to make the playoffs before we can win anything. So our goal this year is to be the best team we can be, definitely be a playoff team, and whatever happens from that point on, you know, we'll worry about that when we get into playoffs.
You know, last year I think we were 26 out of 27 in defense and field goal and passing, everything. We certainly won't be there again this year, and that's a goal. I mean, our goal is to improve our defense, to move up, to share the ball, to become a competitive team. And I think that if we do that, then the other things start to happen for us.
Well, Doug, it is obvious that Brian Hill doesn't want to put any undue pressure on his young ball club, but Lenny Wilkens, on the other hand, wants to make sure his veterans know exactly where he stands.
Well, from Lenny Wilkens' standpoint, you know, the one thing, this Atlanta team has been a team that's been a lot of one-on-one basketball play. And in talking to him over here for a couple days, guys have not trusted yet the play. They break the play. They have a tendency not to run it all the way through. We saw that last night in the game. They've got to trust that they got to be able to execute. Their assists will go up. Their shooting percentage will go up. Everybody will share in the basketball. For Brian Hill, on the other hand, with young players and with a guy like Shaquille goes tremendous distractions. For them, they must be able to focus on the game. When they travel specifically, when they go out on the road, there's going to be a lot of people tugging at them. This is a team that has a lot of weapons, but they're going to have to wait to see how they were able to face all the distractions.
And as you have said, the 82-game schedule is indeed a marathon. It is going to be an interesting season this year. Coming up, we will have the lineups and the tip from London, England, the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks.
So many people trying to figure so many ways to rip you off now that it's very hard by yourself to counter all these things.
Citibank called one night at 7 o'clock. Apparently, someone had bought 9 tickets to Vegas, gambled, and invited 9 of their best friends.
That's why, you know, having somebody watch your back is good.
Citibank realized that I'd not made those charges, and it got taken care of.
It just makes you feel like you have an ally out there.
Just a few of the many people who rely on the security of not just Visa, Citibank Visa.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wandering in the night. What were the chances we'd be sharing love?
Timex, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
In just 1 year, something happened to 640 million pounds of chemical pollutants. Instead of becoming waste, they were captured for recycling. The members and partners of the Chemical Manufacturers Association, working for change.
I want to ask you about something.
Okay. Okay.
I'm crazy about you.
Well, I'm crazy about you, too. That's it?
Oh.
What? What? Come on, what?
Back with you from Wembley Arena in London, England for Game 2 of the London Games with the Hawks and the Magic. Moments ago, quite a spectacular start the evening off with what they call a legend here in London. It is Gary Glitter, who has one song that has become very famous among NBA arenas. But the main attraction were, of course, the players. Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks getting quite an ovation by this sellout crowd. Shaquille O'Neal, who almost brought the house down with the standing ovation.
And in number 32, the center, Shaquille O'Neal.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. A couple of changes for both ball clubs from last night's first game. First of all, for the Magic, Jeff Turner will be getting the starting nod at the forward as opposed to Larry Krystkowiak. And for the Hawks, a couple of changes. It'll be John Koncak at center, Stacey Augmon at the other guard, and they'll be replacing Andrew Lang and Craig Elo. And that's a couple of minor tweaks, but I think for the Hawks, they want Augmon in there so Craig Elo could come off the bench.
And also, they won 43 games last year, Ron, with John Koncak starting as their starting center. So they'd like to take a look at this team. This was actually their starting team last year and see what it can do tonight against the Magic.
There we see Dominique Wilkins. Anthony Hardaway, they call him Penny, also getting the starting nod at the guard position. And there is John Koncak. Last night, Koncak, 4 points, 4 rebounds.
Ron, I was very impressed last night with Anthony Hardaway. It's the first time I've seen him in an NBA game. The one thing surprised me was he was better individually, defensively than I thought he was going to be. And he's a very good rebounder. He had 2 tip-ins last night in the ball game. More importantly, he defensive rebounds and pushes the ball out on the break.
And he and Scott Skiles are just about swapping the 1-2 position for Orlando. Skiles obviously the point guard, but at times when Penny has the ball, he'll become the one.
He will be able to take some of the pressure off Skiles where he will not feel like he has to handle the ball 48 minutes every ball game. I think that will make him fresher.
This is the way Atlanta started last night with a quick, easy 2, Dominique Wilkins. This is what Orlando, coming into the game, really concerned about is this first quarter. They were down by as many as 19. We talked about that, and Brian Hill really wants them to stay with Atlanta this first quarter. Rod Gerritsen blows the whistle. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from last night's game. You see the last 10 minutes and the first 10 and last 38.
Yeah, you can see what the score was. They were down 19, the Magic, then outscored them by 44. But if you look, Dominique 16 points. They got off to a quick start, 11 in the first quarter, and then just could not get anything going in the second half.
There you see Anthony Hardaway going on a baseline, whistle and a foul, and that'll be called, I think, on John Koncak. And there was no black jerseys around him. If there was, it was a late call.
I think what it was Anthony Hardaway took the shot. Kenny Maurer waited to see whether the shot was made or not. When it was missed, he got Koncak with a foul. So Hardaway will be shooting 2 free throws. You see Lenny Wilkins not very happy with that call here early.
Well, in case you're wondering what all the haze is in the background, that is from the smoke they had for the introductions. And like last night, it just seemed to linger for about a quarter and a half. This is a small building, only seating 9,500, so you can imagine that some of the smoke is not able to escape.
Look at the matchups now. You're going to see Shaquille O'Neal against Kevin Willis. Kevin Willis in the post had a field night last night, 29 points. He loves the jump hook when he comes to the middle.
He loves that left block.
There it is.
Oh, Shaquille O'Neal swats it away. O'Neal with 4 blocks last night gets his first this evening.
Well, Kevin Willis made this move last night and was very successful. This time, Shaquille goes up and rejects the shot. Maybe we'll make him think about it the next time he looks to take that little jump hook.
This time, Kevin from the outside. Hardaway will lead the charge. Shaquille beat everybody down court. No look pass. Good cut. Hardaway for the slam.
See, you saw Hardaway, Ron, with a defensive rebound. He pushed it ahead. Skiles became a lane runner that time, so he did not have to carry the ball 94 feet. I think that's really going to help his game this year.
Also, Doug, I think just Shaquille O'Neal with the assist. I mean, you know, looking for that extra pass. Last year, he had so many turnovers forcing passes. We've got a whistle and a foul, says Steve Javie.
A lot of his turnovers last year were of the walking variety, of the 3-second variety. When he did turn the ball over against double teams, I thought it was more out of carelessness where they came down and he just threw the ball through guys' hands. He's going to have to really be strong and crisp with his passing out of the double teams.
That foul, by the way, was on Shaquille. Augmon lost the handle a couple times last night, and he did again tonight. Koncak able to chase it down.
Shaquille mistimed his jump that time, Ron. Gave him an opportunity for another shot at the basket.
Well, the Hawks will get a 3rd shot at it, and they still can't make good. Tipped around, loose ball foul. That will be on Atlanta. 3 chances at it.
Now, see, Stacey Augmon had 2 wide-open foul line jump shots. They're 15-footers. He does not have confidence in that shot. He missed them both. Let's watch the next time he gets it to see if he tries to resort to the drive. I thought he got himself in trouble last night by taking away the open jump shot and trying to go in traffic.
O'Neal on contact. Augmon fakes the double. They go back down. Shot clock at 12. Shaquille looks right, goes left. His first 2.
He's just so powerful. You could see the Hawks are not double teaming. They're staying at home, letting Concac play him one-on-one.
Orlando's going to play the Hawks straight up. They will not do a lot of double teaming. This time, Dominique drains the 3.
Good floor spacing that time, though. Willis did not have anything. He pumped it back out to Dominique, who was behind the three-point line. That's the kind of spacing Lenny Wilkins wants on the floor.
Well, last night, Dominique had 11 first-quarter points. He was hot. Concac with a steal to Blaylock. He has to beat Skiles. Scotty just has to hammer him for his first personal foul. Let's take a look at Shaquille offensively. A lot of people say he needs a move and a counter move.
Well, this is a nice play. He's going to feel the contact as he goes to the middle. He's going to bump right there. He's going to knock Concac back on his heels and then steps in and uses the backboard. That's a very nice move by Shaquille. We know he's going to get his dunks. If he can deliver around the basket like that and make his free throws, then you're going to see his scoring percentage continue to go higher and higher.
Well, it's a breakaway or flagrant foul called on Scott Skiles, which means Mookie will get a couple of shots and possession. Scott pleading his case to Steve Javy.
Well, Scott was upset. He thought contact slapped him here on the strip, so he just took the foul against Mookie Blaylock.
Well, the Hawks have a chance to make it a 4-point, 3-point play. They tied up at 6, 9:25 left in the first. Doug Collins along with Ron Thulin. Glad you can be with us for our last exhibition game here on TNT. We start the regular season Friday night with a big doubleheader. We'll be telling you more about that as the night goes on. Hardaway, explosive.
See, defensive rebound, end-to-end, no one stops the ball, takes it right to the basket. Magic Johnson did that as a rookie. I thought it was one of the best things Magic did was his defensive rebounding, push it length to the floor. No one stopped the ball.
Wilkins almost lost it. Skiles still battling for it. Somebody has to be open. Stacey Augmon, that is a welcome sight for Lenny Wilkins.
See how quickly, though, Orlando is advancing the basketball. They have it already underneath the basket with only 5 seconds expired on the shot clock.
Willis with the rebound. Anthony Hardaway got right in front of Mookie Blaylock, who then traveled. Let's take a look at Anthony Hardaway.
Anthony Hardaway, again, with a defensive rebound. You saw the little hesitation dribble, takes it all the way to the basket. Just the lane parted for him to take the ball right to the basket. That's why the opponents from Atlanta last year shot almost 49%, and they were 26th in shot blocking.
Over Concac, Shaquille O'Neal now with 4. Mookie quickly down court, crosses the timeline in just about 3 seconds. Dominique.
Dominique has really had trouble with his shoulder. We talked to him, Ron, before the ball game, and he got bumped again last night. He got off to the great start. He said in the second half his shoulder was very sore. Said he's feeling better tonight.
Little behind the back French pastry. Turner can't get it to go. Neek 3 of 4. He is expected to get an MRI done on that shoulder when the team gets back to Atlanta. But he doesn't need one now.
Ron, I told him before the game, shooting does not make your shoulder sore. It's getting a hand up on shooters that when your shoulder gets sore.
You shooters. Oh, my. Neek now 4 of 5. Nobody took Hardaway the easy 2. I find it surprising, Doug, that the people of Orlando's booed on the trade of Anthony Hardaway, and in an exhibition game, they booed him again this year. They will be cheering this young man for 82 games this season. Timeout. We'll be back.
Wednesday night on TBS. Clark Gable and Vivian Lee. America's greatest movies continues with Gone with the Wind. 8:05 Eastern, Wednesday night on TBS.
Welcome to the 3rd annual Fleer NBA Championship game. Here's the tip-off. Williams controls to Ainge. Ainge passes it into Aguirre. He spins in the lane, behind the back to Ewing. He's up and away, and jams it from three-point land. The bench goes wild. It's rock and roll time. 6 seconds left. Jackson inbounds to Shaquille at midcourt. The alley-oop to Minor. What a super pass to Wilkins with the monster jam. That's the game. Now here's the wrap-up. Fleer, a game in every pack.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will. balls of fire.
Monday, basketball superstar Michael Jordan. He quit the sport at his peak, and the game will never be the same. What's next for Air Jordan? Find out Monday night on Larry King Live, 9 p.m. Eastern on CNN.
Tower Bridge, one of the most recognizable of all London landmarks, stretches high across the River Thames. Just across the way is the Tower of London, formerly a royal residence. Today, the crown jewels are still kept here, and people line up every day for a glimpse of the royal riches. One of the spectacular sights that we've been able to see while we've been here, tied at 12. Let's take a look at the Orlando Magic preseason report. They're 5-2. That ties a franchise record for most exhibition wins. And there is the numbers on Shaquille, Nick Anderson, and the team.
Well, the thing I like the most of all is 43% for opponents' field goal percentage. Last year it was about 45. It's continuing to go down. Their defense is getting better, and they have that ever-present Shaquille O'Neal back there to block shots so they can really pressure the basketball.
Brian Hill, former coach at Lehigh. Was an assistant under Mike Fratello for 4 years, then with Matt Gukas for 3 years.
You can see Atlanta coming out of the timeout. They go to a flex offense, which means everybody's going to get involved in the offense. Everybody's going to get a touch, get the ball moving.
That was an offense that Lenny Wilkins, as Nick Anderson's three won't go down, found success with in Cleveland, but can he run that in Atlanta? Does he have the personnel to?
Not on a steady diet. This Atlanta team, as we see Kevin Willis with a nice finish here on the fast break. This Atlanta team is a quick-hitting team, and Lenny Wilkins knows that. But what you have to do is you have to continue to preach movement of the basketball. Kevin Willis running the lane very nicely. Again, he loves to come back to the right and get into the middle with that little jump hook. Gets the kind roll and the opportunity for the three-point play. But, Ron, I think Lenny Wilkins, when I talked to him the other day, knows that this Atlanta team is not going to be able to run the same kind of offense that Cleveland did. But what he's trying to do is just continually talk about moving the ball and sharing the ball and trusting the play and each other.
Hardaway. Hawks with a three-point advantage inside of 7 minutes of the first quarter. Anderson around contact. Doesn't get it. Here comes Mookie. To Dominique. Turner with the outlet to Skiles. A 3-on-2 if they hurry.
Oh, nice pass.
Nice pass. Ogman saved it, knocked out. It'll be Atlanta's basketball.
Only the long arms of Stacey Ogman prevented a beautiful play there. You saw Dominique Wilkins on the end, and all I could remember was about 5 or 6 years ago, you would have seen Dominique take off and just tomahawk dunk that ball with 2 hands. You see, he just could not finish like he once could, but now he's 33 with 12 years in this NBA.
Willis faces up. Shot clock at 6. Loses the handle whistle. That might be number 2 on Shaquille O'Neal. Now that is Shaquille O'Neal's second personal foul. Let's take a look at the Hawks preseason report. They are just 2-5 on the year. Dominique Wilkins not shooting the ball very well, but as Doug mentioned, having a problem with the rotator cuff.
Well, you see only 2 scorers really in this picture. A third scorer must emerge. I think it's got to be Stacey Ogman, which gives Elo, again, that versatility off the bench. But the field goal percentage, 42 for Atlanta. Their opponents shooting 49%. That must come down, and that's what Lenny Wilkins is going to work on. His teams in Cleveland were very good defensive teams. They didn't foul much, so they had this label, this tag of being soft, but they were a very, very good, solid defensive shot blocking team. This team has more speed and quickness. They're going to have to create opportunities in the open court.
Willis drops them both down. He's 3 for 3 from the line, has 5 for the evening, and the Hawks have their biggest lead of the game at 5. 17-12, 6-10 left to be played in the first. The problem for Atlanta we saw last night is when that second unit comes in. Turner from the outside.
Jeff Turner is a very good shooter. He normally can make that shot.
Greg Kite checked into the lineup for Orlando. Shaquille has sat down. Outlet to Skiles. This is how quickly they fill the lane. Turner on the right, Hardaway on the left.
How about
nice pass.
How about that pass from Hardaway? That was beautiful.
So he really impressed Matt Gukas and myself and you last night. I did not realize he was that good defensively, but also the fact he can bring the ball on the break.
Yes, and what they're going to do is they'll groom him a few minutes at a time at the point guard position. Dominique rising from 3 once again. They'll groom him with some minutes, but he's not ready yet to run this team. And I think that this is their best team with Scott Skiles at the point and Anthony Hardaway as another passer and ball handler on the floor.
8 straight points for the Hawks. Skiles tries to force the pass. Willis has it. Rim rattling, shaking time. Oh, but he's fouled by Hardaway. And Willis said, good play. That's also good hustle. Dominique on offense.
Dominique again behind the three-point line. Good floor spacing. Goes straight up. You see the elevation, the nice rotation. Has 2 3-point shots now early in this ball game for Dominique, who's shooting the ball tonight very well.
Dominique having a shot at winning the scoring title. He is the only person outside of Michael Jordan who has won the NBA scoring title in the last 8 years. Last year, Kevin Willis had problems from the line, Doug. He only shot 65% as Shaquille O'Neal takes a breather. And this is something he really wanted to work on because 2 years ago, he was 70s and 80% most of the season.
Concentration. You get to the free throw line. Everything is good about his shots. All he has to do is stay on the line, follow through, finish high at the basket. He's got a nice stroke. There's no reason he should shoot in the 60%.
Atlanta 10 straight points. And as Yogi Berra would say, it's deja vu all over again. Just like last night. This is what Brian Hill was afraid would happen. He wanted to make sure his team didn't get down double digits. And they are right now. Contact, short, Blaylock can't get it. Outlet to Skiles, tries to spin away from Ogman. Scott wanted a hit. Ogman has Willis on the right, Wilkins down the middle. Stacy can't get it to go. Should have given it up, Doug.
I think it was a good play. He took it strong to the basket. He just missed it. I think you're also going to see Scott Skiles get a technical here early. He's been frustrated with about 2 or 3 calls, so don't be surprised if he gets a technical.
Falls down hard. Contact with the block. Gets it out to Blaylock. 3-on-1. Dominique hammered by Greg Kite. Whoa, it is a little rough tonight.
A little more intensity from the Atlanta Hawks. I think Lenny Wilkins has gotten his point across. The jumper from the corner by Kevin Willis is no good, and then you see the run-out fast break opportunity. Hardaway finds Scott Skiles, who dishes it over to Nick Anderson, who's blocked, and then they go back to the other end of the floor, and Dominique gets fouled and gets the 2 free throws. So this has been a back-and-forth game. Question is, does Atlanta have the firepower to be able to play this pace? We know Orlando does.
Well, Dominique made the first. Andrew Lang has checked into the lineup. Kevin Willis is going to take a seat. Kevin had a big game last night with 29 points and 10 rebounds. Dominique doesn't get the second one to go. Dominique already, though, with 13 points for the ball game. The Hawks have a lead by 11 inside of 4 minutes. Anderson weaving his way through, throws it up. We have another whistle.
When Nick Anderson was determined he was going to get that shot off. He was backing in against Dominique Wilkins. John Konkak came down and double-teamed him. He continued to dribble and dribble till he got to the other side of the basket and finally got the foul. John Konkak made a nice defensive play, but then stood straight up in the air and allowed him to split him. He should never have been able to get through there.
Nick Anderson, the 5th-year pro out of Illinois. Last year averaged just a shade under 20 points a game. He had career highs and everything else.
See his versatility. He was a big guard last year. Dennis Scott played the small forward position. Now they've been able to move him down. Dennis Scott can come off the bench and give them the shooting. So they have some weapons in that backcourt. You can move Hardaway to the backcourt with a Nick Anderson. You can go with 6'5", 6'7" in the backcourt with a Dennis Scott as a 3-point shooter with Shaquille on the floor. So there's no reason they should ever be caught on the floor without a team that can score.
And Michael Jordan had a good talk with Nick right before he retired. Nick took it almost as a challenge that he needs to step up his game now that Michael's no longer in the league. Somehow, Doug, I can't picture Michael sitting in a lazy boy recliner watching us with some popcorn.
I can't either.
You know, I mean, Michael, as you're watching, I know you're saying, "Geez, this looks like fun."
Magic very sloppy right now.
Dominique.
Magic barely careless. Now, Ron, the one thing if you're Orlando, you don't want to get into this false sense of security. You can continue to dig yourself a hole and play out from behind it. Last night it was 19. Tonight it's 12. 13 points is almost the same amount they had last night. They were down 32-13.
Scott Skiles a little off to the left side. Konkak and Turner Kite and Konkak battle. That'll be a loose ball foul on Greg Kite. That is his second personal. So now we have Shaquille with 2, Greg Kite with 2.
throw ahead to Dominique, and we've seen this thousands of times throughout his NBA career. You know, interesting substitution now. Lenny Wilkins has gone with Andrew Lang and John Koncak together. We did not see that last night, so as he has taken out Kevin Willis, he is coming in now with Andrew Lang. So probably what's going to happen is when Kevin Willis comes back in the ball game, he'll give Dominique a rest. He has to have one of those guys on the floor all the time in order to get some scoring, because Koncak and Lang together, their career scoring average is about 10 if you combine them.
Orlando going without a true center, Doug, as Larry Krzysztofiak is checked into the lineup, and Greg Kite with 2 personal fouls sits down.
Let's see if they try to go some screen roll action to get Turner some jump shots. He and Krzysztofiak.
Got Skiles from the arc, nothing but net. Hawks lead it by 14, nearing the 2.5-minute mark of the first quarter. Trying to get Augman free on the baseline. The Hawks able to do it. Then he loses it. Anderson loses it. Mookie Blaylock keeps it alive.
Can't be careless with him around the ball. I tell you that right now. He will take it back in a minute's notice.
Mookie Blaylock second in the NBA in steals last year. Is Andrew Lang his first 2?
I like that. You've got to reward Andrew Lang. He's a shot blocker. They brought him over here because their shot blocking was so poor last year. You got to give him some touches offensively, though. Find out what he can do.
Second worst, in fact, to Detroit in blocks last year. Outside, Larry Krzysztofiak, who's been brought in to be sort of the resident banger for Orlando.
Well, see, Jeff Turner and Krzysztofiak, both of them play really the 4th position, although, like you said, they're playing without a center now. And both those guys can make jump shots. So they're very good at spacing out on the floor, really in isolation and on double teams getting jump shots.
Krzysztofiak turned down a couple of offers for more money than Orlando offered him, just because he thought he could do something with this team. We have a timeout. 1:38 left in the first. The Hawks lead it by 11.
It takes a little to never say never of what is deep inside.
For 74 years, we've never missed a practice. From high school to the pros, Champion is the choice of America's teams.
I didn't seem to see too much savings.
But I do remember them telling me that I had made a great choice, but it just didn't work for me.
I guess I had to learn the hard way. If you spend $40 a month and belong to MCI's Friends and Family with Basic or Primetime, you could save more with AT&T. Save 25% off our basic prices on calls to your favorite area code and 15% off calls everywhere else anytime. Great prices, another part of the iPlan. Switch now. It's free. Just call 1-800-822-4500.
Service is a big feature with me.
Service is the key. I switched back to AT&T, had the service that they're obviously known for. So back to AT&T.
I just really wasn't that happy with it, so I switched back for free.
AT&T's the only choice.
I can't go wrong with AT&T.
Prices that could beat MCI's most common Friends and Family plans. Plus the best customer service. I is for individual. It's why so many people are switching to AT&T.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
They don't bother me, so I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I've got, baby. They don't bother me, said I'm gonna keep on giving you the best that I've got. Listen, baby.
Well, Dominique Wilkins, the consummate professional, along with his lovely wife, Nicole, visiting London. This is Dominique Wilkins and the numbers he's put together over his 12-year career. Not bad, 26.5 a game. Top 7 in NBA scoring each of the last 9 years. And I think the big story for Dominique was the year he had last year, Doug. Coming off that injury, nobody thought he'd ever be able to play again. What a year he put together.
Yes, he did. And I think what happened with that is going to prolong his career. And what I mean by that, Dominique was never really a hard worker in the summertime. He got the serious injury. It forced him to work hard in the offseason. He came to camp in the best shape he's ever been before. He normally comes in 10, 12 pounds heavy, plays himself back into shape. At his age now, which 32, 33, you can't do that. You must stay in shape year-round. I think that injury was a blessing in disguise and will probably prolong his career.
Well, at the line, it will be Stacey Augmon after the foul just before the timeout.
Some more substitutions. We now have Dwayne Farrell in the game. He'll be at the small forward position. Kevin Willis back in. Andrew Lang now slides over to play the center position. Stacey Augmon and Mookie Blaylock remain in the backcourt. So you see a little bit of the maneuverability now that Lenny Wilkins has with his front line.
But you see also that Kevin Willis is in. I mean, that's like we talked about, you know, Willis and Wilkins.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to, because you have to have a scorer on the floor all the time. In fact, let's see what happens now. 12-point lead right now with Dominique sitting down. Let's see if they can maintain this.
Whistle and a foul underneath. Steve Javy making the call. 1:23 left in the first. Let's see who they call it on. Yeah, it'll be Dwayne Farrell's first personal foul.
Now, as we look at the score of the game, you say 12-point lead. How did the Hawks do this tonight? Well, a couple of the keys. First of all, turnovers. Orlando had 6, only Atlanta 2. And offensive rebounds, 4 for the Atlanta Hawks, none for the Orlando Magic. So they're getting second shot opportunities, and they're creating turnovers, giving themselves more possessions.
There you see Nick Anderson, Orlando's all-time leading scorer, over 4,600 points. Nick gets them both to go down. He has 3 for the ball game. The lead is cut to 10. We have 1:20 remaining in the first.
Little three-quarter trap, trying to get them out of their offense, making freelance a little bit.
Lang with a hook. Jeff Turner with the block. He outlets it right in the hands of Augmon, who throws it back to Turner, but we have a whistle and a foul. That was an ugly series.
Anthony Hardaway tried to bust out of the pack after he got the steal, or on the block shot. And what he did was he picked up his dribble and tried to make the pass. He got hung in the air, caused the turnover. Augmon picked it off. And then Nick Anderson fouled him.
Well, just a reminder, the NFL on TNT comes your way from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. The Silver Bullet Stadium show kicks things off at 7:30. This week's guest host will be Houston Oilers quarterback Warren Moon. Then at 8 o'clock, it'll be the Lions and the Vikings, Gary Bender, Pat Hayden, and the crew. And as Ernie Johnson would say, and the entire hee-haw gang. That was for Ernie back in the studio. Whistle. Ball belongs to Orlando. 55.9 left.
Nice matchup we're on right now. We got Stacey Augmon and Anthony Hardaway. You see the Magic trying to go to Hardaway in a one-on-one situation. Augmon has met the challenge now twice.
Skiles tries to get it in between Willis and Blaylock to no avail. Stacey Augmon, the reverse won't go. The tip up and in by Dwayne Farrell.
Stacey Augmon doing everything right except finishing those shots. Just a little more concentration. Keep his eye on the target. Those shots will start to fall for him.
Well, not to get on Stacey Augmon's case, but Doug, he sort of disappeared at the end of the year last year, and it's good to see him a little more aggressive right now. Outside, Kraskowiak doesn't get it. Shot clock, game clock, about a 3-second difference. Blaylock. Turner got away with a push.
They don't have this. You should pull it back and get one shot.
Hardaway says, we've got it. Hardaway with 10.
Boy, he's a sweet-looking young player.
He's got those long arms, explosive jumping ability. Blaylock for 3. It goes. That's a way to end a quarter. 12 minutes have been played in Wembley, and Mookie Blaylock with the 3 at the buzzer.
Frustrating quarter for Scott Skiles. He tries to get the foul. It's not called, and Mookie picks up the loose ball and delivers the 3-point shot. 17-point lead for the Atlanta Hawks.
13-1. Row 3.
Sunday night NFL on TNT. A good old-fashioned black and blue knockdown. Where 2 nasty neighbors run each other into the ground. Lions, Vikings. Tonight at 8 Eastern on TNT.
TNT brings you 5 big movies.
I don't like it.
about bad people doing bad things.
You get in our way, we're going to get you too.
Tomorrow on TNT.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a synthetic oil, the rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oils. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
I'm Walt Garrison. No matter where or how you spend your time, you depend on your equipment. I count on my old-timer knife by Schrade for the really tough jobs. Handcrafted here in the USA, Old-Timer, Uncle Henry, and Schrade knives all have one thing in common: Schrade's lifetime warranty. So whether it's a simple chore or something that requires just a little bit more attention, be sure it's a Schrade. Schrade cutlery, built to last a lifetime.
Happy birthday, Cousin Dave!
What's this?
We're here for your birthday party!
That's next week.
Oh, Ed.
Does that mean there's no food?
There's a Wendy's nearby.
Now you're talking!
Everything on Wendy's Super Value menu is 99 cents each. Freshly made salads, hamburgers hot off the grill, chili, delicious food you can only get here. Plus, for $1.99, get a hamburger kids meal.
Happy birthday! Look, we're twins!
Great.
Wendy's, you don't pay more, you just get more.
Last night at Wembley Arena, the Orlando Magic led 32-23 after one, and after one tonight, they trail at 37-22. They trailed last night also. Stacey Augmon, we talked about briefly, Doug, how he sort of disappeared the last few games of the season.
Well, after the great start, he shot 51%, averaged 15 points a game. The last 10 games of the season, you know, under 7 points a game, 33% shooting. So his number's up a little bit more this year, but he needs to push it up to that 15, 16-point range, again, to give them 3 solid offensive threats on the floor.
Shaquille on the double team.
That's that careless pass that I talked about out of the double team. That's where Shaquille has got to really concentrate.
9th Orlando turnover. Now Enos Watley is checked into the lineup, number 1 for the Atlanta Hawks. We have an offensive foul. That'll be on Willis. The foul is called, his first.
Now, when Dennis Scott comes into the game, they like to go right to him and run a play. So let's see if they try to run him off a screen or get him a shot immediately. They did it both times he was in the game last night.
There's Todd Lichty's checked in for Orlando, number 24, fighting for a roster spot. Shaquille can't get it to go. Lichty keeps it alive.
Well, he's really battled back with some tough injuries. He just seems like every time he turns around and gets healthy, something else happens to him. Let's hope he can stay healthy.
Inside, Krystowiak with the left hand.
That's a better job that time by Shaquille. Took his time, found the cutter.
Dennis Scott also into Orlando's lineup. Lang from the baseline. Well, Todd Lichty had a girlfriend who passed away in a car accident. He's had numerous operations. His house was burned down in Denver. That's an emphatic rejection by Andrew Lang. Moments ago, Larry Krystowiak.
You're going to see the double team across the floor is Stacey Augmon, and Larry Krystowiak goes right to the middle, nice pass, and then finishes it with his left hand. That's a nice cut and a nice pass.
Well, Craig Elo's checked into the lineup. Stacey Augmon will sit down. Last night, Elo with 12 points, but he came up with 4 big steals. 10.5 left to be played in the half. Hawks lead by 13. Lichty hands it over to Skiles. Shot clock at 9. Skiles giving a pass. Lichty with 3 on the shot clock. Burrell with the block. Shot clock at 1. Skiles won't be able to get it off, but it may have been good just to let it go out of bounds. I think they may have given it to Orlando.
I think what happened, Todd Lichty went up and he was going to get blocked, and he tried to pass at the last moment. The shot clock's winding down. He hangs in the air at the last moment, sees Skiles. It's a partial block, partial pass.
Well, now the Hawks have the ball in the lead. Burrell over Lichty. It'll be short. Willis tried to keep it alive. Loose ball foul on Enos Watley. That'll be his first personal.
Right now, the aggressive team is the Atlanta Hawks. They're more aggressive on the offensive boards. 5 offensive rebounds in the first quarter, none for the Atlanta Hawks. The turnovers, 8-2 in the first quarter. So all those are hustle statistics right now. Atlanta wanting this game just a little bit more at this point in time.
As you mentioned, Orlando trailed by 9 last night, but they came back with a strong second quarter to lead at halftime. Shot clock at 7. Now they're winding the clock even farther down, but Krzyzkowiak throws it away. 11th Orlando turnover.
See, Scott Skiles played 35 minutes last night at the point guard position. They got a few minutes from Isolino. I'll be surprised if he does not come out here real soon and get a rest. I think he's running on empty right now.
Lang traveled with it. We talked about Orlando having 11 turnovers. They've been averaging about 21 turnovers during the preseason. And here comes Laterio Green into the lineup. And Scotty Skiles will sit down. Green, number 11, a second-year pro out of Georgia. Second-round pick back in '92 by Chicago. Came over here in July following the NBA draft. He's also fighting for a roster spot, along with Mike Isolino, who played for Dallas last year.
See, Isolino played last night. Laterio Green will get the playing time tonight. And you say, why does that happen? It's because you can't play 3 point guards. You got 2 games back-to-back. Give both of them a good look. One night, one the next.
Here's where the Hawks need to improve this year, and that's just 3 of many.
Well, shot selection, I think when they move the ball and they trust their offense, they're going to get good shot selection. Shot blocking, Andrew Lane should help in that statistic. And the defensive aspect, 49% their opponent's shot, which was 26th in the league. If their shot blocking goes up and their rebounding goes up and their shot selection's better, I think the field goal percentage defense will also come down.
Well, Doug, they've called a timeout after Shaquille missed the first. 9:03 left in the half. Hawks still lead it by 13.
Skill FlexiCharge cordless tools all share the same battery pack. So when you need a recharge, they keep on.
The pomp and pageantry of the oldest monarchy in the world draws millions to Buckingham Palace. On this day, a state visit is taking place, so the lucky spectators are treated to more royal sights than just the changing of the guard.
Absolutely. But you know what? There's really no trends into the season yet of what these teams are going to do.
And we'll have Shaquille O'Neal at the line, shooting the second of his free throws. O'Neal 5 for 9 last night from the stripe, and he's 0 for 2 tonight. Oh, we've played just about 3 minutes, exactly 3 minutes. Only 2 points have been scored, and that belongs to Orlando. Doug, last night we saw the Atlanta Hawks 15 feet and beyond were very, very cold from the outside. Tonight, little different story.
Well, that's a shot they're going to have to make because teams are going to collapse against him, and Mookie Blaylock is going to get some outside shots. You see the Magic now tonight, 2 for 9. The Hawks 6 for 15. Dominique Wilkins back into the ball game, so they were able to give him a rest and actually gain a point. Positive sign.
And Lenny wasn't going to play around with his rotations tonight. Nice move by Willis for the easy reverse.
Shaquille's got 2 fouls from guarding Willis. Willis stepped out off the block and drove it to the basket twice, picked up fouls, so Shaquille now has to be very, very careful.
Steal by Elo, slaps it to Watley. A little behind the back pass. Enos Watley with the 2.
This is what you want from Elo. You got Elo and Watley in the game together. Both good defensive players. Elo now gives you that lift coming up off the bench. Now he's out on the floor with Willis, Wilkins, and Watley. That's a good lineup.
17-point lead for Atlanta. That is their biggest, and they look a lot better than last night. About 100% better in the second quarter. Still a lot of basketball yet to be played. Elo not afraid to take the 3 as we saw last year in Cleveland. Shot clock inside of 10.
There's that jump hook coming back to the middle.
With 6 on the shot clock, Atlanta has it.
See, Kevin Willis had nowhere to go with that ball. That's when he's got to pass out. He's trying to create his own shot. He was at the double team, and you saw Lenny Wilkins, say, move the basketball. That's where you've got to trust you'll get it back.
Neat for 2. 15 first quarter points, adds 2 more to that.
See, Todd Lichty really is getting his first action with that bad knee. You've got Dennis Scott, who's not a really a good defensive player. So this is not a good lineup for the Magic. This is an exhibition lineup you have on the floor right now.
Shaquille just tries to muscle his way through. Now Preskowiak, the high archer. Shaquille slapped away by contact. Shaquille tries to throw it off the foot of Elo, and he does just that. It belongs to Orlando. That's some agility, though, for 7'1", 300 pounds.
Shaquille his shot tonight is very flat, Ron. I mean, he's turning, and it's looking like he's trying to pass the ball. The last moment, there's no pass, so he's just taking the shot. It's really not what I would consider a strong shot.
Only 2 of 5. He said he was winded after last night's game. Said he was very, very tired. Wasn't sure how the legs would respond today. Of course, he sat out 2 preseason games prior to last night's action.
Here's the double team. There's where Dennis Scott's important, right there, that three-point shot.
Konkak takes it away from a pack of Blackbirds. He has 5 rebounds. Dominique. Watley trying to keep it alive. That'll be a loose ball foul on Enos Watley. That'll be his second personal foul. We have crossed the pond, the Atlantic, for Game 2 of the London Games from Wembley Arena in London, England. Along with Doug Collins, I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you to Wembley Arena, where the Atlanta Hawks have built a 19-point advantage in the second quarter. 6:52 left to be played. Watley is out. Mookie Blaylock is in.
I think you can see Lenny Wilkins is playing to win this basketball game. He's tightened up his rotations. Guys are getting what they would normally get during a regular game in the season. And Mookie Blaylock right back in with a quick steal.
That's why Mookie was second in the NBA in that category. Takes it coast to coast. Tip by Willis, won't go. Green. Lichty firing away. O'Neal over Konkak. Konkak stripped him, had all ball. That's O'Neal's first rebound, believe it or not. Jack didn't like the call.
I don't think anyone from Atlanta liked this call. I saw the coaching staff jump up. Shaquille's going to come across the middle, and he brings the ball down to his waist. Watch this now. Big man, look where it's down to his knees. Looks like Konkak got all ball there.
Yeah. That was right in our line of sight, and he had the hand on leather. Shaquille 1 of 3 from the line, only 5 points, 1 rebound.
So Shaquille got in early foul trouble. Last night he shot 5 for 10 from the foul line. So again, this is an area, the shot still a little flat, but that time he makes both of them. Interestingly enough, it seemed like every time last night either missed them both or made them both.
Well, Buzz Brayman's been working with him back in Orlando. Says his shot has improved. It's just getting the repetition. All the way to the hole. Back from the corner, nothing but net. Gak with 4 points, 5 rebounds, 5:55 left to be played in the half. Atlanta with that 19-point cushion. That's what they did last night. Right there. But now Willis holding on O'Neal. Last kick by Konkak. How about Orlando? Let's see where they need to improve this coming season.
They really want to push the ball up the floor and use their speed and skill in the open floor. They got to cut back on their turnovers. If you're going to run, you can't turn the ball over, and you must rebound the ball if you want to run. So all these things tie together. When they run, they're a very, very efficient team. They're playing half-court basketball tonight, and Atlanta has stymied them.
Talk about the turnovers. Shaquille had 307 turnovers last year to just 152 assists. That is what you call not good.
Blaylock now is executing so well. They put Craig Elo on top of the floor, let Blaylock go off the screen, and now he becomes a shooter. The versatility of Elo can play 3 positions for you. Cleveland will miss him this year.
I think Lenny definitely read them the riot act last night.
No question.
Now Steve Javy telling the players to knock it off. A lot of pushing and shoving and grabbing, and that's going to be a technical foul called. I think it may be on, is it going to be on the Hawks or Larry Preskowiak?
By Willis. I saw Kevin Willis and Steve Javy talking in the lobby before the game.
Oh, buddy.
Doesn't mean anything out here, Kevin.
Oh. Well, Steve with his wife, Mary Ellen, talking to Kevin. We were all sitting just chatting, and Steve had it was on Larry Preskowiak.
Oh, it was? Well, I knew it was 42.
Well, we didn't mean anything about them talking before the game, honest. That was all a joke. Somebody's going to say no, too. Dominique now, 2 of 3 from the line. 18 points for Neek. Well, they want none of this grabbing right now.
This is what happens when, you know, remember in the playoffs, you play a team back-to-back or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times in a row. And get a little testy, especially late in the exhibition season. Guys are tired. They want to get the regular season started.
Meek over Scott. Scott undercut him. And Dennis will be whistling for the foul. His first.
See, now, the difference in tonight's game is Dennis Scott has come in this game, and he's not been involved in the offense. They've gone into Shaquille. They have not got him involved. And now he becomes a liability defensively for you. So you must bring him in the game. And they've got to look for him. They've got to get him some shots. Really, the only shot he got was a spot-up 3 out of the double team.
And looking at the big picture, and as you've mentioned many times, Doug, in order for Orlando to be successful in the playoffs, they need Dennis Scott to be in the offense.
They need him to be in the offense, and they need for him to be able to accept his role of coming in off the bench, because I think this is the way he can best help this team. Hardaway, Skiles, a very good starting backcourt. Nick Anderson at the 3 spot. He can come in them and into the game and really uplift them in a lot of games.
Big 4 or 5 from the line. 20 points for Dominique already in the first half. The Hawks with this 50-26 advantage inside of 5 minutes from Wembley.
Coming down.
Don't forget the NFL coming your way next on TNT. The Hawks, another steal, another Orlando turnover.
See, Elo got away with an illegal defense. He never cleared when his man went to the other side of the floor.
13 Orlando turnovers.
How many layups have you seen the Magic get since Anthony Hardaway sat down?
Mookie Blaylock, another steal. 14 Orlando turnovers to Willis. And it goes in! Oh! Roll the videotape! He didn't call bank. It shouldn't count.
What a difference tonight makes.
Oh, my goodness.
Mookie Blaylock finds Kevin Willis. Now, we've seen him run the floor nicely 2 or 3 times tonight. That's using the glass.
Oh, next to Gary Glitter, that is the highlight of the last 2 days. Here's another look.
Kevin Willis did not even know this shot went in. He was off the floor. Watch this. He's completely off the floor. He's not even looking. Looks over and sees it goes in. It says, just the way I planned. 3-point play.
We have a timeout. Atlanta has outscored Orlando 15-4 in this quarter, and they lead it 53-26.
This TNT Sports presentation is brought to you by Champion, proud to be the official maker of all the...
The Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic are the first teams to play an NBA game on European soil, and the first game was won by Orlando tonight with 2:32 left to be played in the first half. The Hawks lead it 58-31. Talk about Anthony Hardaway, the #1 pick. They call him Penny, which was given to him by his grandmother. And we saw the young man last night, explosive, but he played defense. And this is a young man that really has the complete package.
I like the way he plays because he's explosive under control, if that makes sense. He does not leave his feet and look to make spectacular plays. The spectacular plays come because he plays the game the way it's supposed to be played, and he makes a simple play. He makes the simple pass, and as his game expands, you're going to see him do some spectacular things. He's already such a steadying influence on this team. They got behind, they brought him in, they ran a play, stepped out, hit a jump shot, got a steal, ran the fast break. He's going to get better and better and better because he also loves to play. He's a young guy, and right now all he wants to do is play basketball. I hope he doesn't lose that love.
He's a gym rat.
That's exactly right.
He's a gym rat. And just talking to him, he said one thing that really was difficult for him early on in the season is the way he was portrayed in the papers holding out, and he just hoped people would just forget about that and realize that, you know, he's not a bad kid. And just talking with him the past couple of days, he is a very intelligent young man, very personable. Blaylock pulling the trigger from the outside. Elo had it, lost it. Willis looking for the loose rock. That's a bug loose on the rug, belongs to Atlanta.
Ron, when you're talking about player contracts, what people have to understand is that first contract that you sign sets up the rest of your career. So you got to make sure you get the right deal for yourself, and especially with this new loophole in the salary cap where you've got this 1 year out in a lot of clauses where you can become a restricted free agent. It's going to change. There really is no salary cap now, regardless of what they want to say. The salary cap has been circumvented.
Look, I know you're feeling a little under the weather, a little stomach, but Greg Kite is also, as Mookie Blaylock gets the 3. We've been told that Greg is not going to return to the ball game. He is out ill as the Hawks now with a 30-point advantage. But you're not allowed to leave.
I'm playing hurt tonight.
Well, Gukas is all ready to come in.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sitting down.
Well, they tried the alley-oop to O'Neal. Basket will go, and we have the foul. Shaquille O'Neal, only his third field goal of the ball game. Burrell picking up the foul. That is his second. And O'Neal back to the line.
When you look at this Atlanta team, they're a team that can really cause some problems for you defensively. If Contact and Andrew Lang will guard the basket for them and make it difficult to get layups, you've got speed and quickness in 4 other areas out there on the floor. They can cause some problems and create some turnovers.
Elo from the corner. I'm just amazed, Doug. This is a completely different team we saw last night in the Hawks, and Orlando for that matter. Anderson, nice little scoop shot by Nick.
Hey, you did the game in a sports festival this year when my son was playing there. They lost by 35 to the East, played them 2 days later and beat them by 15, a 50-point turnaround. It's so very difficult to beat a team 2 nights in a row.
Blaylock for 3, doesn't get this one. The quick outlet to Anderson. Royal into the lineup, and he loses it. Last night, those passes were being made and converted into easy baskets. Tonight, they're having problems. Inside of a minute, Hawks with a big, big lead.
Well, what you're also hearing in Atlanta is that you're hearing the squeaking on defense. I mean, you're hearing some noise, some movement.
Donald Royal not afraid to take it to the hole on anybody. Royal with 5 last night. That's his first tonight. That was a play that Craig Elo was waiting Nick Anderson to tip it, and he did it and surprised him. Orlando 7 straight points.
Mookie Blaylock, you always teach your point guard, and I know Lenny Wilkins probably talked to him about this 50 times as you see Royal dancing here on the baseline with a nice finish. You must make your point guard go to where there's a double team before you try to make the pass.
Shaq sets the pick. Elo tries to rotate. Now he picks up Royal. Anderson being guarded tightly by Farrell. Goes up with the acrobatic shot. Doesn't get it, but Anthony just puts on a little show. Foul's going to be on Dwayne Farrell. His third. And at the line, it'll be Nick Anderson. Only 1 field goal tonight. 5 points so far. Had 16 last night.
See, Dennis Scott had 18 points off the bench. I don't think he scored a point tonight. Nope. Shaquille had 23 last night. He is having a quiet night. Scott Skiles has been very quiet tonight. Really, the only guy who's playing as well as he did last night, maybe even better, is Anthony Hardaway.
Anderson gets the second. The Reebok halftime report coming up, and so is an NFL game with Gary Bender, Pat Hayden, Bob Neal, Kevin Kiley, and Warren Moon, our guest host tonight for the stadium show.
Last shot time. Hawks should get the last shot. Dominique wants it against Penny Hardaway. Let's see if they get him the ball.
Blaylock, Farrell, back out to Blaylock. A lot of time left. The 3 won't go. Anderson at the buzzer, off the side of the backboard. 24 minutes have been played at Wembley Arena in London. It was a good one for the Atlanta Hawks. After being scalped last night, they come back strong tonight. 61-39 is our score. We'll be back with halftime activities in a moment.
You build a new razor with precision heads to shave below this.
22 points by Dominique Wilkins helps the Atlanta Hawks to the 61-39 halftime lead, and we welcome you back to Wembley Arena. While a 3rd straight title for the Chicago Bulls was perhaps a surprise by no one could really predict what was ahead for the NBA in this past summer. It was a summer that was full of promise, of change, and of loss. Here's a look.
And this series is history. And the Bulls all out on the court. This is the Bulls.
The world never looked brighter for the Chicago Bulls. 3 world championships and the addition of Europe's best player, Tony Kukoc, made the Bulls invincible. Then, Michael Jordan called it quits.
I just feel that I don't have anything else for myself to prove.
The only thing that disappoints me is the fact that we had always planned on retiring together.
Also hanging up his jersey is former NBA scoring champ Bernard King after a gutsy career spanning 16 seasons and nearly 20,000 points. 2 of basketball's treasures would be taken from the world tragically before their time. With the deaths of Drazen Petrovic and Reggie Lewis, the NBA lost 2 premier performers, but never to be forgotten.
You guys are unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They're here and ready. ready to strut their stuff. Coming soon are the names of the future. From Orlando to Oakland, the NBA freshman class is ready for the fall term.
I might not look happy, but, you know, this is the happiest moment, in my life.
Plenty of off-season wheeling and dealing left a lot of old favorites with new addresses. AC left L.A. for sunny Phoenix. The Bullets bagged a Duck and granted Portland a Harvey. Craig's a Hawk, Ken's a Buck, Percy's a Hornet. A worm surfaced in San Antonio, and Elliott motored into Detroit. Finally, the Jazz added some chamber music. Got it? Something old, something new, and a fresh start for a few. Mike Fratello returns to the NBA after a 3.5-year absence as coach of the Cavs. While newcomers Quinn Buckner in Dallas, Brian Hill in Orlando begin their initial campaigns. Veteran mentors Lenny Wilkins in Atlanta, Larry Brown in Indy, and Bob Weiss of the Clippers and Don Chaney in Detroit all added another line to their coaching resumes. Next summer in Toronto, Dream Team 2 will play in the '94 World Championships. Players like LJ, Alonzo Mourning, and Dominique Wilkins lead a very strong contingent.
We're just going to go out and play hard and do whatever possible we can for our country.
The Hard Luck Warriors suffered a huge loss when guard Tim Hardaway tore knee cartilage last week and is lost for the season.
So fast, I don't even know. It was like that. I just felt on the ground and couldn't even breathe. Shot.
283 media credentials representing 15 countries have been presented here at the London Games at Wembley Arena, and we have a halftime score of 61-39. The Atlanta Hawks lead it. We'll be back with more halftime activities in a moment.
The Colonel's rotisserie gold is so good it deserves its own special size, like barbecue, baked beans, and garden rice. Now get a meal with the cornbread muffin and your choice of 2 sides. The Colonel.
61-39, our halftime score. It has been a busy week for both teams as they have seen the sights of London. Now let's take you on a little tour of just what the Atlanta Hawks did. London was ready for Shaquille. Signs were everywhere. And at 5:30 in the morning London time, Shaquille O'Neal came into Gatwick Airport carrying his own bags. Just 2 hours later, Dominique Wilkins did likewise through Gatwick. It is an hour-and-a-half ride from Gatwick to the hotel. A Game Boy helped pass the time, only to be met by a small elevator. And of course, just like in the States, the media was there at Orlando's first practice. But when you come to a spectacular city like London, you have to see the sights. The Atlanta Hawks paid a visit to the London Tower Bridge for the obligatory team picture.
Right here.
Now, where would Shaquille O'Neal go? Of course, it's Big Ben. And the media was there, too. Players love to shop just as much as anyone, and we are only 100 yards away from Harrods. And the players spent some time there, spending some pounds and signing autographs. Scott Skiles of Orlando and Kevin Willis of the Hawks.
California? Like the Warriors, huh? Yeah. Who you pulling for tomorrow? Right. There you go. He said the Hawks. That's right. How you doing?
And the week of sightseeing was capped off by a wonderful evening at Planet Hollywood. The fans were there just like for the movie stars, except they were here for Shaquille. And Shaquille O'Neal will be a movie star come November. 61-39 is our halftime score. That wraps up the Reebok halftime report. Third quarter up next.
The Reebok halftime report has been brought to you by Reebok.
Halftime score, Hawks lead it by 22. And we are underway. Hardaway 5 of 5 from the floor in that first half. The rest of the Magic just 9 of 31. The Hawks with 14 first half steals. Mookie Blaylock with 7.
It's amazing. The Magic had 15 turnovers, Ron, and 14 of them were steals, which means you're going to be out running in the open floor. That's why they were able to get 61 points.
And the numbers from the first half, and there you see the steals with Mookie Blaylock with 7. That's a record, Doug.
Yes, it sure is here in European soil. I guess we can say Mookie's the biggest thief in the NBA in Europe, right? But when you look at Mookie Blaylock's line, he shot 3 for 12. You say, boy, what a bad first half. 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 7 steals. So that's sort of a classic Mookie Blaylock line.
That was the trade of the year for Atlanta. I mean, getting Mookie for Ramil Robinson. Orlando on an 11-0 run. Dominique can't stop it. Shaquille with the rebound.
Nice pass.
Anderson with only his second field goal of the ball game.
The only pass that could have got through there was a bounce pass. He beautifully fed it right through to Nick Anderson, who took the ball to the other side of the basket. That was a great fast break.
Well, delay of game against Orlando. That's their first.
It's about 2 more possessions. Atlanta not scoring. You're going to see a quick timeout, and you're not going to see Lenny Wilkins allow his team to fritter away that excellent first half they had.
That'll be an offensive foul on Stacey Augmon as Scott Skiles, I don't think got pushed that hard, but Augmon picks up his second. 10:53 left to be played in the third. Well, I tell you, last night we saw the different runs each team had. Tonight, Orlando on a 13-0 run, the last 3.5 minutes, dating back, of course, to the second quarter. Anderson backing into Dominique, over Koncak, doesn't get it. Koncak slaps it away from Shaquille. Shaq will be whistled for the foul.
Atlanta better be very careful right now, Ron. It's a 17-point lead, and they've controlled this whole game. We see the 13-0 run. We've talked about how explosive Orlando is. It's going to be very important to get a couple defensive stops, get a couple scores, push that lead back up into the 20s.
Inside, Shaquille around Koncak. Shaq's first field goal of the second half. Orlando improved by 20 wins last season. Probably won't be able to go that much this time, but still there will be improvement as the Atlanta Hawks call a timeout. They lead it by 15. As we look down at the Orlando Magic huddle, they have gone on a 15-0 run to pull within 15 of the Atlanta Hawks, and in the middle of that huddle is head coach Brian Hill. First year as a head coach in the NBA. The coaching in the NBA was not on Brian Hill's mind when he was head coach at Lehigh.
I never even thought about the NBA, to be honest with you, until Hubie Brown brought Mike Fratello into the NBA, and that's when I really started following the game and going to their training camps and learning, and it was a tremendous teaching situation for me to come down and watch guys like Hubie Brown and Mike Fratello coach their teams both in Atlanta and New York, and that's when I first started thinking about the NBA. And then, of course, Mike made the dream possible for me by adding him to his staff in Atlanta, and Matty bringing me to Orlando 4 years ago. And as I said, I'm just really excited about this opportunity, and I really hope to make the best of it.
Brian Hill, one of the nice guys in the league, and an interesting story. He met Mike Fratello while both were taking a driver's education teacher's class. They started talking basketball, became very good friends. Now Michael up, of course, in Cleveland. And also Brian Hill coached at Montclair State, where he coached Brendan Surr, believe it or not, who's now an assistant at New Jersey under Chuck Daly. Kevin Willis, the high right-handed hook, drops it home.
Shaquille's got to read that. We know that Kevin Willis wants to come into the lane with that jump hit. He's got to turn him out and make him shoot a fadeaway jump shot. You got to take away his strength.
So important to get that basket after a timeout. Shaquille just turns and pulls the trigger. Shaq with 14, 4 of those coming here in the second. Now Atlanta needs to show some patience. A lot of pushing underneath.
He's got to turn him out here. He's got to turn him out, Ron.
Willis loves that left block. Short. Fights for his own rebound. Last touch by Kevin Willis.
See, right now the efficiency rating from Orlando is way up in this quarter because they have not turned the ball over. They're getting shots. They're executing. Atlanta right now must get a couple defensive stops. break the rhythm of this Orlando offense.
There you see the 3 runs by the respective teams. O'Neal over contact just banks it home. Shaq has come alive.
Down to 13.
Biggest Hawk lead was at 61-31, a 30-point lead. Orlando's last lead was at 6-2, a 4-point advantage for the last big lead. Now the Hawks looking like they're a little out of sync. Spacing not so good, but they buy an illegal defense by Orlando.
Jeff Turner was trying to help out on Kevin Willis, and Shaquille came over and double teamed in the post when the man did not have the ball. So you had 2 guys playing a man without the ball. That's the second. That's only 1 on Atlanta, excuse me. There's been 1 on Orlando, 1 on Atlanta, so there'll be a technical the next time.
1 on each team. Now the officials making sure that that was the call. 8:49 left in the third. The Hawks lead it by 13.
The next illegal defense on either team will resort in a technical free throw and sideline out of bounds.
Hawks retain possession. I think Lenny Wilkins could have been an Atlanta Hawk when the team moved from St. Louis, but he decided to take his career elsewhere.
Orlando's picked up their defense right now, too. You can see they're a little bit more inspired.
The contact takes it in, doesn't get it, but he does draw the foul.
That's the one that Lenny Wilkins wants John Koncak to dunk. He said, you know, John Koncak has played so much in isolation over the last few years. He's really lost his flexibility and his ability to really explode. And you see this right there. That's the one you got to go up and try to power in.
I remember a few years back when John Koncak was being coached by Dave Bliss at SMU, and Coach Bliss used to get on Koncak to dunk the ball just like you said. I mean, Dave would go on and on about, John, when you're 7 foot, you get up that high, take the rim down.
So you don't dunk the ball, you get fouled, and you miss 2 free throws. It's almost like a turnover. Not only that, but emotionally it's a downer.
Shaq trying to get position in the left block with Koncak. The baby jump hook goes down.
Shaquille's shown some moves in this quarter. Jump hooks, drop steps, follow-ups.
7 for 12. He's hit his last 5 shots. Now Wilkins, who had the big first half, didn't have anything on that. And you have to wonder that Neek comes out, gets hot, gets warmed up, sits out at halftime, and that shoulder gets a little stiff. Here's Shaquille.
Nice jump hook along the lane. Look at him. Nice extension. Nice follow-through, good rotation on the shot. I think that's the best move he's made tonight.
Look, you've talked about that Shaq needs that one move he can always go to, but then a counter move for that. If he got those 2 down, he'd be in great shape.
Well, I always say you got a weapon and then one counter, you're a player.
Can't get it to go. Dominique, the human highlight film. That was the old Dominique. Hawks back up by 13. How about a rim-rattling, earth-shaking dunk by Neek?
Ron, when Neek was in his prime, I remember him taking shots from the top of the circle, missing them, and following them up with dunks. This guy was so explosive.
Well, that'll be an offensive foul underneath the basket, says Steve Javy, and it may have been on Anthony Hardaway. That is Hardaway's third personal foul.
See, now Orlando's made their run, okay? They've cut 17, 18 points off the lead. Right now, Atlanta wants to get a couple scores and try to stem this tide, get the emotion back in their favor. What happens is when you play uphill a lot, in many instances, you run out of gas once when you try to catch up.
If you can't get it, Willis tried to track it down, hit off the leg of Scott Skiles, and Willis says something to Skiles. And that's going to be a technical foul, I think, on Kevin Willis. Maybe it's on both of them.
No, I think they're going to call it on Kevin Willis.
Yeah.
I think they're being, the referees are being told this year to pay attention to some of the taunting and some of the things that are being said to try to prevent anything from happening, any skirmishes. So I'm sure that Willis said something there. Steve Javy heard him, hit him with a technical foul. They want to cut out on the trash talking.
Now, Kevin's just getting it explained to him. Trash talking and hanging on the rim, 2 things you'll be seeing a lot of technical fouls called on if it was the situation it was last year. Lenny Wilkins wants Kevin to go the other side. Ball slapped away. Turner comes up with it. Here come the Magic on the run, trailing by just 12. Hardaway trying to do everything, gets it swatted away, but gets it right back. Anderson, no.
Credit John Contact there, prevented 2 layups.
Wilkins gets Shaquille up in the air. The bank is closed. Wilkins with the tip.
You know, I did the interview yesterday with Dominique, and I said, does it bother you? It's Shaq's here now and all the Shaq stuff. And he said, you know what? When I leave London, they'll know Neek has been here also.
Boy, after that effort. Neek with 26. The Hawks lead back up to 14-6. Left in the third. That was about 3/4 of the way down. Wilkins in the left block. Gets it knocked away. Atlanta has the basketball. Atlanta led by as many as 30 in the second quarter. Their lead was trimmed to 22 at the end of halftime. And right now, with 5:47 at Wembley Arena in London, the Atlanta Hawks lead it by 14, 67-53. Along with Doug Collins, I'm Ron Thulin. Glad to be with us tonight as our exhibition season comes to an end on TNT. All gets underway for real on Friday night. Doubleheader coming your way. Whistle and a foul. I think it'll be on Stacey Augman. That'll be on Mookie Blaylock. Blaylock's third. 4th team foul. Atlanta last year, the 2nd worst defense in the NBA, gave up so many easy baskets. Trying to stop that tie this year. Turner from the outside. O'Neal battling everybody. Contact takes an elbow upside the head, and the foul's on Contact.
Shaquille has really asserted himself underneath those. Offensive rebounding. John Contact trying so hard to keep him out of there. Shaq just too strong. Look at him. He just neutralized him, jumps up. 2nd effort, 3rd effort. And then the foul on Contact's right ear.
That's Shaq's 4th personal foul. Kevin Willis pleading his case to referee Ron Garrison. You heard in the background say call it both ways. Shaquille O'Neal with the free throw. Here's the impact. The year before and last year, 20 games better, the point differential better, field goal percentage better, and opponent's field goal percentage down. We have a timeout. 5:23 left in the third. The Magic are within 13.
Now.
Hawks lead at 67-54. 5-2-2 remain to be played in the third quarter. Shaquille O'Neal at the line. He's already made 1. Shaq gets the shooter's roll.
Well, after he missed his first 2 free throws, he's strung some together. What is he, 6 for 9? So he's made 6 of his last 7.
10 points for O'Neal in the quarter. 20 for the ball game. Kevin Willis with that right-handed hook again.
I'm going to repeat myself. You got to turn him away. You can't let him come into the lane. Take him away, so if he misses his shot, he's out of the play. He's going to his strength, and Shaquille's got to adjust to that.
Another steal, the 15th steal for the Atlanta Hawks, and it ends up in an easy 2 for Craig Elo. He has 5 in the ball game.
Now, turnovers and steals got Orlando into a 30-point hole. They've dug themselves out. They've gotten within 12. It's now back up to 16. They cannot get careless.
Atlanta was worse in turnovers last year. They're also last in steal to turnover ratio. Shot clock at 5. Somebody better look up. Skiles with the long 3. Elo pulls down.
You know, Neek's not spinning as much as he used to. Have you noticed that? He used to get going at you and then get that quick, hard spin. I don't see that much in his offense.
Well, he kept the ball alive. Elo can't come up with it. It's a 3-on-2. To Skiles, the reverse won't go. Anderson, count it, and the foul. Augman whistled for the violation.
I think the real key for Atlanta to win this game today tonight is when Lenny Wilkens has to go back to his bench. Can they hold the fort and allow Wilkins and Willis to get a little bit of rest, and they can come in and finish this game off? They've got a nice little cushion right now. It's a 13-point game. We've got about 4 minutes, so it's going to be very important for them to keep this lead, so when the bench comes in, they've got a little cushion.
Hawks going with Willis, Wilkins, Blaylock, Elo, and Augman. Shaquille, Jeff Turner, Scott Skiles, Anthony Hardaway, and Nick Anderson for the Magic. Hawks have led just about the entire way. Elo from the arc. Doesn't get it. Augman went for the jam, and he was grabbed from behind, and that is a foul.
That's a foul.
Well, just a reminder, Friday, November 5th, beginning at 8 p.m., opening night of the 93-94 season here on TNT. Game 1, Doug will be with Bob Neal for the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. And then Game 2, the Suns and the Lakers. Gary Bender and Hubie Brown there to call all the action as we begin another season of NBA action right here on TNT. And, boy, we're really glad of the new 4-year deal with the NBA.
Ron, it's going to be so strange doing that game and not seeing Michael Jordan in a Bulls uniform. You know, it's going to be a strange feeling. I guess we should also talk, I don't know whether the NBA fans have heard that Scott Williams from the Bulls hurt his knee the other night. The extent not yet quite known at this point in time. They're concerned it could be a season-ending injury to the patellar tendon, where they could not afford to lose him.
Hardaway active underneath. Just to add to that story, Doug, you've heard the rumors that he was headed to Orlando.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk that Orlando might be trying to make a deal to get him. Now, whether or not that would have happened or not, but I saw some long faces on the Magic fans, the front office people the other night when we got the little telex that said that Scott Williams had been injured.
There was some definite mumbling going on in the hotel. Shaquille tries to go inside on Willis. Kevin Willis picks up his second. Well, the Shaquille O'Neal will be going to the line. 4 different categories. He was in the top 10, the only player to do that.
See, if he improves his free throw percentage from 56 or 57 to what he was last year into the 70s, his scoring will go up from 8th to about 5th just from making more free throws. His rebounding is excellent. Shot blocking, field goal percentage. Now remember, both times he's gone to the line when he's missed them both. Now he missed this one. See if he can regain his concentration and get this second one. That's a good job.
Nice job. He's been to the free throw line 11 times, and if you're going to be spending that type of time at the line, you better shoot in the 70 percentile range, like a Karl Malone, because Karl spends the time at the line. And Shaq is going to spend time at the line.
Karl Malone's first year, he shot under 50%.
Kevin Willis was down there, too. He was up at 80 2 years ago. Hawks lead it by 10. Led by as many as 30. They led 61-39 at halftime. Donald Royal, count the basket. We have a whistle.
Here's a guy, Donald Royal. A lot of people in the NBA don't know much about this young man. He might have as quick a first step as anybody in the NBA. Watch him square up, quick first step. Got away maybe with lowering his shoulder a little bit there on Craig Elo, but he's so quick to the basket. I bet you if we looked at his statistics, the minutes that he plays on the floor, he probably shoots as many free throws as anybody in the NBA if you would chart it out over 48 minutes.
Well, Donald Royal was a third-round pick back in '87 by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Spent some time in the CBA, Minnesota. Then he went to Israel, went back to Minnesota, San Antonio, and then Orlando.
Ron, quietly, it's back. It's a 7-point game now. So at the 4-minute mark, it was a 16-point game. They've cut that now by 9 more, down to 7.
Double team. Willis left open, takes it in strong. Count the basket. We have another whistle. Well, the rotation was almost there. Donald Royal, I don't think, got over quick enough. Foul was on Donald Royal. Here is Kevin Willis. The first 7 years and the last 2 years. Quite a difference. Before the game, Kevin came over and said, could you say hello to my mom? Tell her I'm having a good time. So, Kevin, count it as done.
Bob Hill, the assistant from the Orlando Magic, he and his wife Pam have their two of their sons here. Cameron's back at home. They told me to tell him to make sure he's studying tonight and not watching the game. So Cameron, study.
Well, the other 2 sons came up to me and said, the good part about this trip is we don't have to go to school.
That's right.
That was was snowing in Atlanta a couple of hours ago. So look forward to going back to that. Anthony Hardaway using the bank. 4 points in the quarter for Hardaway, 16 for the ball game. He's only missed 2 of 9 shots tonight. Back to a 7-point advantage.
That play is no way that can be made right there. It's a turnover, and it leads to a fast break dunk. That you just can't make that play. Mookie, and you see the look on Lenny Wilkins' face, like you just can't make that play.
That is Shaquille's first dunk tonight. Last night he had 5.
Willis turned him away that time, but still he made a tough left-handed hook shot. That's a much more difficult shot, Ron, than the ones he's been shooting in the lane.
8 points for Willis in the quarter, 20 for the ball game. Nearing the 1-minute mark of the third as Skiles pulls the trigger from 20. 5-point advantage. Cut from 22 at intermission. Orlando showing a lot of poise for a young team. The whistle, the foul on O'Neal, the basket by the Hawks.
Just a simple play, screen and roll. Orlando's trying to string it out. They made the nice play to Elo. They swing it down, 1 extra pass, and then Stacey Augmon with a nice cut. Pharrell finds him, and you've got 1 guy on the floor trying to play 2. And the numbers favor Atlanta in that situation.
Shaq has 4 personal fouls as Anthony Bowie is checked into the lineup for Orlando, wearing jersey number 14. Bowie, the 4th-year pro out of Oklahoma. Now Krzyzewski will come in. Shaq is going to take a seat. Mid-quarter for Shaq.
Yeah, he had a big-time third period.
13 points for Shaq in the quarter, 23 for the ball game. But the lead is 7, nearing 45 seconds. O'Neal, 13 points, 6 rebounds go along with that. Had 5 rebounds in the first half. Anderson carries the 3.
You're telling me the score was 61-31, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means in that period of time, it's been, what, 42-16? 42-16 last night. Over the last 38 minutes, they outscored them by 44. Remember we talked about them in the opening being an explosive team. The problem you have with being an explosive team is that you don't dig yourself holes continually and try to play out of them, because it will come back to haunt you. Orlando's going to have to start getting out of the gate quicker.
4 points. Atlanta lead. Once they learn to get out of the gate quicker. Boy, this team has shown a great deal of patience the last 2 games as Dwayne Farrell stops the bleeding momentarily for Atlanta with his 4th point. Shot clock's turned off, final 20. This has been a game of streaks.
Nick Anderson's just going to hold the ball out, try to isolate, either create a shot for himself or someone else if they double team.
Elo taps it away. Blaylock is grabbed from behind, and that would have been an easy 2. Now, we've talked about this, Doug, and Bob Hill and I were talking about it the other day, that this is a foul nobody likes because a guy has a clear shot at the basket.
Exactly right, and it's going to be 2 free throws because it is the penalty, but we see Coach Bob Hill right there, the former coach of the Indiana Pacers, who's now found a home here with Brian Hill and Tree Rollins on the Orlando bench. But yeah, it's a, you know what that is? That's an eyesore play. It stands out. It's like the fans don't like it either. We don't like it, but that's the rules, and that's the way it is.
Shaq on the bench with 4 personal fouls. Mookie Blaylock, his first point of the second half. He has 10 for the ball game.
The little play that Craig Elo made at the end of the quarter there, the strip, they got the steal, so instead of the Magic maybe cutting it to a 4-point game, Blaylock stretches it back out to 8.
Mookie Blaylock had 8 points last night. Here comes Krzyzewski, fakes right, takes it with the finger roll at the buzzer. It rolls around and won't go down. 36 minutes have been played in London, and the Hawks cling to the lead, but it is down to 8.
Everybody needs some money sometime. Everybody needs.
The first 2 games on European soil by 2 NBA teams, and it has been exciting. It has been a series of runs for both ball clubs, and you can see how the Magic outscored Atlanta by 14 in that quarter. to cut that 22-point halftime lead down to just 8. Dominique Wilkins will begin the third quarter on the bench as the Hawks go with Willis, Farrell, Augman, Elo, and Blaylock. Bowie, Skiles, Royal, Krzysztofiak, and Nick Anderson for the Orlando Magic. Final quarter of play here at Wembley. Elo comes out of the back card. We have a whistle and a foul, and that will be on Anthony Bowie. His first personal foul. Bowie's been really struggling this year in the preseason, but last night broke out of it on 6 of 8 shooting for 12 points. Orlando shooting 59% in the third quarter from the field. Blaylock all the way using the body to avoid Larry Krzysztofiak.
Now, Scotty Skiles very upset. No one rotated over to help him defensively. That's where you missed Shaquille. Shaquille would have blocked that shot.
Shaquille on the bench with 4 personal fouls. Blaylock another steal, the 16th Atlanta steal. Willis all the way. Elo's got it. Whistle. Loose ball foul before the shot. I think Mookie Blaylock may be injured. Maybe cramping up.
Here's Mookie turning the corner on the drive. Skiles yelling for help.
See what happened to Mookie. Well, I really can't see him in the play. Elo comes up with it. We have a foul. Mookie is out of the ball game. Enos Watley is in. Mookie with 9 steals in the ball game, but he looked like he cramped up or something. I couldn't tell exactly what it was. Willis, far side. Royal outlet to Skiles. All the way, Nick Anderson. That'll be a blocking foul on Atlanta. Enos Watley whistle for the foul.
You can see the lineup right now that Orlando has on the floor. They're going to really try to get out and run. You've got Nick Anderson, Anthony Bowie, Donald Royal, Scott Skiles, and Larry Krzysztofiak. So you have a power forward, really 3 forwards and a guard. You're going to see Lenny Wilkins counter real quickly with Dominique Wilkins. He's not going to let him sit long, and he's going to come back with Andrew Lang.
Anderson gets the first.
Stacey Augman will get a little bit of a rest, as will Kevin Willis, who's played another strong game tonight. So the Hawks will counter with Elo, Farrell, Wilkins, Lang, and Enos Watley. So they only have really 1 guard on the floor, 3 forwards and a center. So we've got both teams matched up.
Anderson gets the second. Willis sat down with 20 points in the ball game. The Hawks lead 83-75. 10:50 remain to be played in the ball game. Elo gets a step on Bowie. Shot clock inside of 10. Lang's got to give it up. Watley wants it.
So what am I doing with it out here?
No. Shot clock at 3. Shot clock at 2. Dominique Wilkins with 2. 28 for Wilkins all the way. Royal rejected by Andrew Lang, but we have a foul.
Again, Donald Royal with that quick step to the basket, Ron. You must get back and run with him. Looks like Scott Skiles really looking ahead the last 2 times. Mookie Blaylock stretching out over on the bench with Joe O'Toole. I don't know if he has a cramp like you talked about, but looks like he's stretching his calf or his hamstring.
There's Royal taking it strong to the hole, but Lang whistle for the foul. Donald Royal has no fear. He will take it to the basket on anyone. That's just his style of play.
He's actually playing with a fractured middle finger on his right hand.
Well, the cheer you heard was for Shaquille coming in, Larry Krzysztofiak sitting down.
Shaq with a quick rest, so you can see Orlando looking to make their push right now.
John Gabriel and the Orlando staff, player personnel director, have done a nice job as getting role players for this team. Players like Larry Krzysztofiak, Royal, Bowie. Pete Babcock doing the same for the Atlanta Hawks. Farrell from outside.
Looking out, running
Look at
ahead.
Anderson. All the way down. Farrell chases it down, tips it out. Ball will belong to Atlanta. Bob Hill and Brian Hill cannot believe it on the far side. Technical foul on the Orlando bench, says referee Ron Garrison.
They're upset there. They felt that Nick Anderson was fouled on this play. The throw ahead from Scotty Skiles. There's a play from Farrell. Felt like that either it went off Farrell or that there was a foul. Steve Javie said the last one to touch it was Nick Anderson, so the technical foul will be assessed to Brian Hill.
That was a tough call, though. It was so quick. They were running so hard down the court. I mean, there was contact, obviously. Neek was 4 of 5 from the line. Can't get that one to go. Well, Brian Hill picks up his first European technical. Still can't believe the call.
Too much for being mild-mannered. There's only about 10 minutes to go till the regular season starts. Those collars start getting a little tighter.
Right. That's exactly right. But you got to understand, you know, my buddy's watching in Cleveland, I'm sure, but, you know, he's around Mike Fratello for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He knows how to get on the officials. Mike taught him well. Terrell can't get it. Elo almost had the tip. Eight-point Atlanta lead from the corner.
See, you can come in with Anthony Bowie, Royal. Look at the lift they give you off the bench. You've got Nick Anderson. You've got a quick speed team. Skiles can play point guard. You've got Shaq back there in the middle. Anthony Hardaway sitting down, getting a rest. Dennis Scott has not scored tonight. So they have all kinds of scoring options.
Lang, no place to go. The turnaround over O'Neal, doesn't get it. Right into the hands of Royal, who gives it up to Skiles. 4 on 3. This is the Orlando we saw last night, but they were able to make those shots. 22nd timeout by Scott Skiles and the Orlando Magic. Well, as Doug mentioned, the regular season all gets underway Friday night, and the Orlando Magic will open it up at Miami. You have a couple of home games, then at Charlotte, then back home for Miami and Utah. We have a full timeout. 9:09 left to be played in the ball game. The Hawks still hold on to the lead.
Sunday night NFL.
Your wedding, your kids, my grandchildren.
The House of Commons and the House of Lords are the seats of government here in England. Outside the houses is one of the most beloved images in London. That, of course, is Big Ben. Ben towers 320 feet over the Thames, and its minute hands are as tall as a London double-decker bus. Back inside of Wembley Arena, 9:09 left to be played. Along with Doug Collins, I'm Ron Coolin. We've seen the Atlanta Hawks jump out to a 30-point advantage, 22 at halftime, but the Magic are chipping away, and they continue with Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, they've done it on the boards now. They've got a 9-rebound lead on Atlanta. They've pushed to 35-26. More importantly, the Hawks, after 5 first-quarter offensive rebounds, have only 4 since that point in time, so a much better job on the defensive backboard.
25 points now for Shaquille, but Dominique Wilkins continues his scoring onslaught. 8 here in the second half, 30 for the ball game. Rotator cuff not sore now. Skiles from the yard. Count it.
He's tough. He is a tough player. Scott Skiles. Everybody talked about Anthony Hardaway was going to step in here and be the point guard, and Scott Skiles had said, you know, you're going to play off guard. I'm still the point guard of this team.
He always stays in great shape. Has an off-season regime, which is just incredible. Always comes in ready to play. Bowie picks up the foul. Anthony Bowie, number 2 on him. Mookie Blaylock has come into the lineup.
When you have big players, you got to create space, and that's what Scott Skiles is able to do with this long 3-point shot. It's what Dennis Scott will also do for this team. Nick Anderson can hit the 3 on occasion.
Wilkins now 5 of 7 from the line. Willis in, Farrell out.
See, Lenny's playing his rotation right now. You can see he's come now in with Elo, Blaylock, Wilkins, Willis, and Andrew Lang. So he gave Kevin Willis only about a minute and a half rest.
Dominique gets them both. A lot of the players not seeing much playing time tonight, or any playing time, which this is the final cut time too. So you have to wonder, these players on the bench probably have a big knot in their stomach tonight. Players like Steve Henson, Enos Watley, Mike Izzolino, Gerald Green. What a move.
How about that move by Shaquille? And then an unforced error, Anthony Hardaway, a little backcourt pressure. Elo throws the ball away. Ron quietly is kept. It's a 3-point game now. Hawks only lead by 3. 7:48 still remaining. A ton of time.
Well, we talked about Shaq having only 10 points and 5 rebounds in the first half. Well, the big guy sort of comeback, Doug, did his last 8 shots with a variety of moves. Bowie looking to cut it to one, and he does.
He looks quick tonight. I thought he played well last night. I think he even looks quicker tonight. Got he and Royal and Hardaway on the floor now, so Nick Anderson gets a rest, and you come in with another Greyhound and Hardaway.
And that's a quick team he has.
Yes,
on the
it
floor.
is.
A one-point advantage, and the crowd starting to get into it. Kevin Willis answers the challenge. Another big game for Willis. 22 points for Kevin.
Now the question is here, will Big outplay Little? Because right now you've got a Don Nelson team on the floor for Orlando. You've got Shaquille and 4 guards, basically. Although I'm sure Don Nelson would love to have a guy the size of Shaquille O'Neal. But basically, what Brian Hill is saying is, we're going to go small, and you're going to go big, and we're going to see who can win this battle right now. Kevin Willis, again, with a nice turnaround jump shot. He's played very well inside, once again, after a 29-point game last night.
Donald Royal 3 for 3 from the stripe so far this evening. 7 points for the ball game.
Ron, in the opening, we talked about Atlanta and Kevin Willis and Dominique Wilkins being their 2 scorers. They're looking for a 3rd scorer. Well, that's still the case tonight. They have 54 of the 91 points, and that 3rd scorer is still yet to emerge.
That's something they're going to have to find quickly if they want to be successful this year. Hawks, of course, last year at 43 and 39, making the playoffs, only to be eliminated rather quickly by the Bulls.
Well, you notice everyone's got hope now. Michael's out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody feels like that's opened up a spot for them, everyone to move up now.
What a shot by Kevin Willis. Wanted the foul, didn't get it, but he did get the basket. And I think Orlando 5 points shy in the tiebreaker of making the playoffs. Instead, they get the #1 pick. A couple of draft choices. Royal, like I said, has no fear. He'll take it in on anyone.
How about how quick he got to the basket? I mean, Anthony Hardaway pushed it. He found Royal. Right now, it's a problem in transition. You're going to see Pharrell come back in. Atlanta's not able to match the speed of Orlando in this transition game. So Pharrell's going to come in for one of the big guys. It'll either be Andrew Lang, probably, or Willis.
Well, here's what Atlanta begins with. November 8th, Friday, they'll be at home against Indiana. Then they go on a 4-game road trip. That is a very difficult road trip.
Well, I'm looking at that schedule right now. They're only favored in one of those games right now. That would be the home game against Indiana. Then you got 4 tough road games.
After traveling to London, getting back tomorrow, yeah. Hawks will be coming back into Atlanta tomorrow night around 7 o'clock. Of course, Monday's pretty much shot. Then Tuesday, you've got those big, thick, heavy legs. You have a chance to work on Wednesday and Thursday. That's it.
Well, the one thing you hope is, you're Lenny Wilkins. You look at that schedule and say, boy, we don't want to get off to an 0-5 start. But that schedule is brutal.
But the side you have to look at it also is that's the way it is.
And there's still 77 left. So
exactly.
Regardless, you got to play them all.
Pharrell over the outstretched arm of Shaquille O'Neal. Pharrell with 6. The Hawks clinging to a lead. It is down to 5, and we have about 6.5 left.
See, Pharrell came in for Andrew Lang. That puts Willis now on Shaquille.
Well, Ron Garrettson was all set to call a charge. Steve Jabby instead called a blocking foul. Blaylock whistled for the infraction. His 4th. A lot of contact underneath. That'll send Scott Skiles to the line. Last year, Scott was 3rd in the NBA in assists. Played 48 minutes on 13 different occasions. He is quite the Iron Man.
One thing we've not seen is we have not seen Anthony Hardaway play any point guard here at all. We talked to the coaches from Orlando. Most every game they tried to get him a few minutes at point. That has not been the case last night. Gasolino spelled Scotty Skiles. Tonight, Laterio Green came in and played a few minutes. But for the most part, Scotty Skiles has had the ball in his hands every moment he's been out on the floor.
Doug, as a coach, is this a difficult time because you have to make the cuts, but the guys that are on the fringe, you're not getting a look at them, quite frankly?
Well, you know what, to be honest with you, Ron, at this point in time, most coaches know what they're going to do. Unless there's some real shock on the waiver wire or whatever, you've got to this point, and you really know who's going to make your team. So you start tightening up your rotation.
It's game time.
It's game time. You'd like to play one game, at least 1 or 2 ball games where you're playing them like a game before you go into that home opener or the road opener, whatever you have next Friday.
Anthony Bowie can't get it down to 1. Shaq with the rebound. They keep it alive. Fresh 24. 5:40 left to be played. Now O'Neal battling Willis down on the left block, which the right hand, short. Willis with the rebound, gives it up to Blaylock. 11 rebounds now for Willis. And Lenny Wilkins wants a timeout. And a good one at that. 5:27 left. Hawks lead is down to 3. We'll be back.
Happy birthday, Cousin Dave!
What's this?
We're here for your birthday party!
Kylie and me on the pregame, halftime, and postgame stadium show, and then Gary Bender will be along with Pat Hayden for tonight's game, a big one in the NFC Central between Minnesota and Detroit. Now let's go back to London and Doug and Ron.
Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic trailed by 30 at one time. Now it is down to 3. Still a lot of time remaining. Blaylock, Elo, Wilkins, Farrell, and Willis. And Kevin Willis called for the foul. Anthony Hardaway snuck in behind him. Kevin knocked him over. Willis now with 3 personal fouls. 4 personal fouls on Willis.
See that, you know, Lenny Wilkins is upset at that situation. You come out of a timeout, you run a set play, guy's waiting for you there to give you a bump, and Kevin Willis just shoved him right in front of Steve Javie. That's a foul.
Double team. They get it over to Anderson. Can't get control of it. It's Shaquille on the double team again. Talked about it. Hardaway holding his left wrist and continuing to rub it as he runs down the court. Now Wilkins, the double team over by Anderson. Orlando rotating defensively. Shot clock at 10. Dominique can't get it. Here come the Magic. 3-on-3 to Royal. Knocks over Craig Elo. That'll be an offensive foul on Donald Royal.
Can't leave your feet when you got that defensive man back, Ron. You got to be able to pull up and shoot the jumper, and you can see Donald Royal wants to take everything to the basket. If there's a knock on his game, he has no comfort level with that little 10 to 12-foot jump shot.
O'Neal 15 rebounds in the ball game. Really come alive in the second half. Farrell gets everybody up in the air, and he makes it. Nice basket by Dwayne Farrell, his 8th point of the ball game, and that gives the Hawks a little bit of cushion to deal with.
Dwayne Farrell's doing a nice job against the double teams, flashing to the open area. He's got into the lane 2 or 3 times at least in this 4th period. You see him come to the open area out of the double team, and Nick Anderson trailing and reaches in. And the 3-point play for Dwayne Farrell pushes the lead back up to 6 with 4:33 remaining.
Farrell's hit the last 2 Atlanta baskets, has the last 5 Atlanta points. That foul was on Anderson, his 3rd. Inside of 4.5. Hawks lead it by 6. Shaquille right inside. 29 points now for Shaquille O'Neal. Not bad from a 10-point first half. Elo, Skiles tried to swipe it away, but Craig's able to get off the shot. Elo now with 7. The Hawks have reached 100 first.
It comes down to 4 minutes of defense right now. Who wants the most? Who's going to dig in here? It's an exhibition game. You're in London. It really doesn't matter. Who wants to win this game the most?
I think these guys have got the exhibition out of their mind. I think it's a game for them now. Just talking to them in the locker room. Blaylock all the way, doesn't get it. Elo can't get it. Wilkins had it. They'll try it again. Shaq takes a swing at it. Wilkins the tip. He is active tonight.
And the Orlando Magic just held their breath. Shaquille O'Neal went up for the block shot and just buried Anthony Hardaway under the basket. They both went down. And finally, the 3rd effort, Dominique Wilkins gets it to go, gives them an 8-point lead.
34.
As you say, a little breathing room.
34 for Dominique. Back in action, the final 3 minutes and 18 seconds from the first 2 games in London. Magic winning the first, Hawks leading here in the second. Craig Elo comes down with a rebound. One person we haven't seen for Atlanta is Adam Keefe. We know he's had some back problems. Played last night. And sat the bench tonight. First-round pick last year. Well, gets a piece of it. Shot clock at 9. Willis faces up O'Neal. Lets it fly from 17. Wilkins tipped it into the hands of Anderson. Shaq has everybody beaten down court. Here comes Anthony Hardaway. Oh, my goodness! Holy cow! That could be one of the all-time fantastic dunk. Willis comes back and gets it right back. Oh, Gary leaving in the truck. Cue that bad boy up.
Problem was, no one got back to Kevin Willis, and that's who Shaquille was playing. What a spectacular play. Look at this.
You posted me up after he did that. Here it is again. Listen. Now Willis will try to complete the three-point play on the other end, and he does.
See, Shaq was down, and no one picked up Willis. He just ran out, got the easy three-point play. So Shaq's great play. They're -1 on that one.
27 points, 11 rebounds for Willis, and the lead is 105-96, nearing the final 2 minutes. But still, what an incredible play by Shaquille, and that's what these fans came to see. Mookie Blaylock, another steal, number 10. Oh, and Willis with a rim rattler.
You know what? I don't think that ball came through. That ball came out. Keep that replay. I don't think that ball came through.
I think you're right.
That ball came out. I don't think that should have counted.
Well, you can see, Doug, the net on the far end looks like it's hooked up somehow.
I think
skinny.
I think that on the slam, it popped it back out through the top. I don't know if that went in or not, Ron.
Giles for three. Way up high for the rebound is Hardaway. Let's take a look at it.
Look at it slow to see if it hits the floor or hits someone else. It looks like he jams it. Let's watch this now. Oh, I guess it did go through. It almost looked like it popped out of the basket.
That was some serious jamming going on by O'Neal and Kevin Willis.
We were playing a game one night in Denver. The reason I reacted to that play, we were playing a game in Denver one night, and Daryl Dawkins went up and dunked one like that, and the net just took it and spit it back out, and Daryl caught it and was walking around with it and got caught for walking on the play, thinking that the ball had gone through the basket and he had 2 points. So I've seen that happen before.
Seen it happen a couple times. Hardaway at the line. He's 3 of 3 from the stripe. 17 points for Penny. Give the rookie 18. Impressive showing the last 2 games by Anthony Hardaway out of Memphis State. The Hawks now with a 107-98 lead, 135 left to be played. Big night for Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Willis again.
And what does Mookie have, about 10 steals tonight?
11 steals. Whistle, foul. Willis and Wilkins doing the yeoman's work. Well, if this were a regular season game, this would have tied Larry Keenan's NBA record.
Only Marty Aronoff would come up with that, our stat man, always on the ball.
A plethora of knowledge. He makes us look very, very smart.
A little bit better defensive effort tonight by Atlanta. 120 points by the Magic last night. Tonight they're sitting on 98 with about 1:28 to go.
Kevin Willis drops it through the hole. Watley in. Mookie Blaylock cramping up again with that right leg. He's going to have to sit down.
Now what you have to be aware of right now is the three-point shooters. Everybody but Shaquille O'Neal is a three-point shooter on the floor for the Magic. So you've got Turner, Skiles, Dennis Scott, and Hardaway.
Willis and Wilkins, Doug, you talked about it. How about 65 points of the Atlanta's 109?
I'd say that's pretty good production. You got 11 steals from your point guard.
34 and 31. Watley getting the majority of the playing time, which puts the future of Steve Henson in question. Hardaway tried to grab Dominique as he went to spin around.
Well, tonight I think was a case of the old deep hole theory from Orlando. They got right back to within 3, but they used so much energy and they cut 27 points off a 30-point lead, and then Atlanta finished strong with the good defense that we talked about, and they came down and they executed. Pharrell had 5 points in one stretch. Elo had 2 in a nine-point stretch. Then they went back to Wilkins and Willis, and they contributed. So this has been a good team fourth quarter for the Atlanta Hawks.
And that is a word that hasn't been used with the Atlanta Hawks the last few years, and that is team. 36 now for Dominique Wilkins.
I think it also shows that Lenny Wilkins got his message across to his team last night also, that he will not take that kind of effort this season where they just come up and show up for a game and just put it in the loss column.
Well, like everybody I talked to today, including Bob Hill and Brian Hill, were saying that, hey, Lenny didn't stay in this league 21 years coaching and become the second winningest coach by not being a good coach. And he was going to turn this team around. Watley on top, final 40 seconds. Inside Willis. O'Neal's going to be whistled for the foul. Shaquille tried to bring him back here in the fourth quarter. and of the second half. And that'll be 6 on the big guy. What a show he put on for the fans of London the last 2 nights. 31 points, 15 rebounds for Shaq.
I really like the way he asserted himself in the second half, though. When his team got way behind, he got 2 quick fouls tonight, never got in sync, and then he came out in the third quarter, Ron, and he started playing around the basket the way that we know that Shaquille O'Neal can play. So with that kind of effort, and you got to cut down on the turnovers. Orlando tonight, I don't know what the final stat's going to be, but they had well into the 20s in turnovers, maybe even 30.
Well,
they had 15 at half.
The numbers on Willis, 32 and 11. O'Neal had 4 points in the first, 6 in the second, 13 in the third, 8 in the fourth, and he sits down. 24 Orlando turnovers, Doug.
So you just can't win like that.
That was their problem last year. Hardaway takes it strong with 26.8. We have a whistle and a foul. Just a reminder, the NFL on TNT will come your way immediately following our game. Gary Bender, Pat Hayden standing by, along with the Silver Bullet Stadium Show with our good friend Bob Neal, Kevin Kiley, and guest host tonight will be Warren Moon of the Houston Oilers. And, of course, Ernie Johnson scores and highlights all the NFL action coming your way next on TNT. Have a moment. I'd like to thank Keith O'Brien and our entire crew, Gary Lehman, our director, Rowan Backfish, our producer, for putting together this past 2 weeks. Valerie Rao back in Atlanta. It is quite an effort to do a game overseas, folks, and these people have done a great job, along with our friends at the NBA, Jim Driffel, Terry Lyons, Josh Rosenthal. Thank you, folks. Dominique Wilkins with the ball. 2-second difference between the shot and the game. He'll hold it as long as he can. The Atlanta Hawks will go to 3-5 in the exhibition season. Orlando will go to 5-3 as we have one more whistle. So they will just tie a franchise record for wins in an exhibition season as the 2 teams split overseas.
When we talk about turnarounds, last night a 25-point win for the Magic. Tonight the Hawks are sitting on a 14-point lead, so well into the 30s in terms of the turnaround. You got 2 free throws right now by Penny Hardaway for the Magic to be able to crack 100 points. They had 120 last night.
Saw the Hawks were the first to reach 100. Penny gets the shooter's roll. What this shows us is a lot of the young stars in the league. We have Shaquille O'Neal, Anthony Hardaway. That East is going to be very, very tough this year. Very difficult. Let's not forget Charlotte. Adding Hersey Hawkins, big addition.
Miami, if they keep Steve Smith healthy this year, is going to be a team. They played very well last year at the end of the year when they had him healthy. So, again, with Michael Jordan leaving Chicago, people feel like the East for the first time in about 4 years is wide open.
Dominique Wilkins, 36 points, and that helps the Atlanta Hawks split the series in London. The first time 2 NBA teams have played in Europe. The Hawks win Game 2, 113-101. Doug and I will be back to wrap things up in a moment.
Dominique Wilkins.
At one point, Atlanta led by 30. Orlando was able to close it to within 1 at 89-88, but the final 7.5 minutes belong to the Hawks. They win it 113-101. Wilkins with 36, Willis 33, Mookie Blaylock 11 steals, Shaquille 31 points and 15 rebounds. Be sure to stay with TNT. NBA action continues this Friday. Our opening night doubleheader, the Chicago Bulls versus the Charlotte Hornets. That'll get underway at 8 p.m. Then in Game 2, it'll be the Suns and the Lakers. Coming up next, the Silver Bullet Stadium Show, followed by the NFL on TNT. The Detroit Lions take on the Minnesota Vikings. Once again, the final score, Atlanta wins at 113-101. For Doug Collins and our entire crew in London, England, I'm Ron Thulin. Thanks for watching, and good night, everybody.
to know the people of Europe with the U.S. airline that flies to more European cities than any other. Delta, we love to fly, and it shows.
You'll never make it in the NBA.